So we're finally at the movie that started it all. I mean, without Toy Story, there's no Finding Nemo, no Monsters Inc., and worst of all, no Incredibles, which is a world I do not want to live in. Honestly, there's a good chance that Pixar itself as we know it wouldn't even exist without Toy Story. It's kind of weird going back and watching this movie over 30 years after its release because it's so easy to just forget how groundbreaking this movie actually was at the time. Nowadays, fully computer animated movies are the norm. Almost every studio does them, including DreamWorks, Illumination, Warner Brothers, you name it, they've probably tried an animated film. They all are accustomed to computer animation, but back in 1995, this was something that nobody had ever seen before. And honestly, it still holds up surprisingly well. Now, before I get into all the things that I like about it, let's start with some of my critiques, because believe it or not, there are actually a few. Despite my long-term nostalgia of loving the hell out of this movie, and the rest of them when I was a kid, there are always going to be problems with the film no matter how nostalgic you are for it. I mean, just look at Space Jam. None of my critiques are really major enough to ruin the movie or anything. There's no plot points that go unattended or character assassination, but there are just some little things that have always kind of bothered me. First off, not much of a critique as much as something I just kind of noticed right away. Andy's friends absolutely suck at giving birthday presents. I mean, seriously. The kid's opening presents and he's getting bed sheets and a lunchbox.
A lunchbox? Who invited that kid?
Like, I know they're little kids and they probably don't have an allowance to buy the presents themselves, but I mean, come on, give the boy another toy or something, come on. One thing I've never really understood is Buzz freezing whenever humans walk into the room. It's a common critique, but the whole point of Buzz's character is that he genuinely believes he's a real space ranger, so why does he suddenly know when to freeze because Andy walks in? And why does he never question why he's doing it? I mean, seems like something he'd be aware of, and I know it's because the movie needs all the toys to freeze around humans, otherwise the story becomes way more complicated, but it's always been something that kind of stood out to me. Also, while I do love Randy Newman in this franchise specifically, I think Strange Things is actually one of the weaker songs of the film. It's not a bad song or anything, but it's just very on the nose, mostly lyrically. The lyrics are basically just telling you exactly what Woody is thinking and feeling, and not in a very subtle way, but in a this is exactly what's happening in the movie you are watching way. I would have liked the lyrics to be a little bit more subtle, and to be fair, all of them suffer from this, but Strange Things is kind of the most prevalent. Now, it's been said a lot over the years, but Sid isn't actually evil. I mean, I've talked about this before, but I mean, from the perspective of the audience and the toys, sure, he's intimidating because we know that the toys are alive and he's basically torturing them, but Sid doesn't. As far as he knows, he's just taking apart toys and making weird Frankenstein creations because he's just a creative kid. Honestly, it kind of just seems like he has a neglectful family. The only genuinely bad thing we really see him do is mess with his little sister Hannah a lot. And I mean, yeah, he's pretty mean, but as an oldest brother, I can assure you, that's pretty normal sibling behavior at that age. Hell, I'm in my 20s and I still pick on my little sister. Woody's plan to knock Buzz behind the dresser is also kind of dumb because Buzz, unlike the Magic 8 Ball that can't really talk and is inanimate, he can literally just yell out, "Hey guys, Woody pushed me, I'm back here." I know that Woody wasn't exactly thinking clearly because he was jealous, but still. Obviously, the human animation hasn't aged very well. It's definitely aged quite a bit. I almost don't even count that as a criticism because this was literally the first fully computer animated movie ever made, so, I mean, somebody had to go first. The toys honestly still look pretty decent for the time, even if some of their movements are a little bit off, but the human characters, not so much. But I'm willing to give this a pass, though, because it's the first of its kind and it's revolutionary, and you know, you gotta give some grace to the original. Also, the toys absolutely traumatize Sid. I mean, imagine spending your entire childhood thinking toys aren't alive, and then one day they all start talking to you and reveal it in probably the most sinister way possible. I hope that kid got some therapy at some point before Toy Story 3 when we see him as a garbage man. But then again, he seems to be pretty fine by the time we get to Toy Story 3, so maybe he did. Another thing I never really understood, how are Woody and Buzz keeping up with a moving truck by running? And more importantly, how does nobody notice the two toys literally sprinting down the middle of the road in broad daylight? Later, when Buzz is chasing the moving van on RC, how do the toys in the back of the truck not see him when they're attacking Woody? They're literally looking in that exact direction. You'd think that they would have seen that. Finally, I know this is probably the hottest take in the whole review, but the ending. Now, I love the ending. It's one of the most iconic scenes in animation history. Woody and Buzz are flying towards the moving truck. It's one of Pixar's biggest moments. But how exactly did Buzz fly? The whole point of his arc is realizing he isn't a space ranger and can't actually fly because he's a toy. He proves that earlier in the movie when he jumps off the stairs and breaks his arm off. You could quote him and say he wasn't flying, he was falling with style, which, okay, sure, but falling usually requires going down, whether at an angle or going straight down. Buzz and Woody are clearly gliding through the air and changing directions. I don't know, maybe it's not that big of a deal, but I've never really been able to explain that one, so if anybody can, please let me know, because my mind is boggled from that. Anyway, enough complaining, because there's way more to like about Toy Story than there is to dislike, so, those are just some of the small things I wanted to bring up, but now it's time for the praising the movie, because it's actually a pretty fun part of the video. Right from the opening scene with Andy playing in his room, I think the movie immediately tells you everything you need to know about it. Woody isn't just another toy, he's the hero of Andy's imagination, he's the definitive favorite, and it's such a charming way to introduce not only Woody and not only the Toy Story franchise, but honestly, Pixar as a whole, really. And then there's Randy Newman's You've Got a Friend in Me. Now, I know I complained about Strange Things earlier, but You Got a Friend in Me is it's the Toy Story theme. I mean, everybody knows those notes. I honestly don't think there could have been a more perfect song for this franchise. The second you hear it, your brain immediately goes to Toy Story. Now, yeah, sure, the animation definitely has aged compared to modern Pixar, but again, this was revolutionary. I don't think that younger audiences today realize how big of a deal this movie actually was back then for the film industry as a whole. It completely changed animation forever. And one thing I always love is the transition from Andy playing with his toys to all of them suddenly coming to life after he leaves the room. I don't know how to explain it, it just has that Pixar magic. Maybe it's just because it was like the first of its kind of things coming to life that you wouldn't expect are alive. I also really like the birthday sequence. I love how the toys are treating Andy's birthday like it's the apocalypse because they feel like they might get replaced or thrown out or something, and I love how they build up the suspense around the last present without actually telling or showing us what it is. Then there's Buzz Lightyear, and I mean, what else is there to say, man? It's one of the most iconic character introductions in animation history, and I appreciate that the movie doesn't waste any time. Buzz immediately becomes Andy's favorite. Woody immediately starts getting jealous, and honestly, it makes total sense for his character. Woody's jealousy never feels forced because it's rooted in something believable. For years, he's been Andy's favorite toy, then literally less than a day, this cool new Space Ranger shows up and suddenly everybody likes him more, including the kid that has always favored him. Sid's introduction is another thing I really like, and I think that the movie handled very well, because they don't spend forever building him up to be this massive antagonist. He's just introduced naturally as the neighborhood kid every toy knows to avoid. Then we get to the gas station fight between Woody and Buzz, and honestly, one of my favorite scenes because it's so funny. And the whole "you are a toy" is probably one of the most iconic lines in Pixar history. I can't even do it justice by doing that. I might have to play the clip if Pixar doesn't slaughter me for using one of their clips. One scene that always made me laugh for no reason at all is when Woody and Buzz are walking into Pizza Planet with the burger container and the drink cup over their heads. I don't really know why, but the way they keep lifting the lids to make it look like they're actually talking containers, I don't know why, but it gets me every time. Also, Pizza Planet is just a perfect location for this movie. It's colorful, chaotic, full of arcade games, has the aliens and the spaceships, which really helps fit Buzz's whole Space Ranger personality perfectly. And it fits into the story very well because Buzz actually thinks he's getting on an actual rocket. Which is another good thing about this film, is that it transitions from scene to scene pretty naturally. It doesn't feel like they're just randomly putting Woody and Buzz into specific situations and just throwing them into the next plot point or the next scene. Like, they actually get to these locations in ways that feel natural to the story. And Pizza Planet has the claw machine that is actually a very clever way for Sid to end up taking Woody and Buzz home. It doesn't feel forced at all, it just happens naturally. And Sid's room is also incredibly well designed. I mean, everywhere you look, there's another weird toy creation. At first you think they're all going to be these creepy little monsters. Then the movie pulls a really nice twist that they're actually really friendly. I always like that reveal. I also appreciated that the movie doesn't drag out Buzz with him realizing he's a toy. A lot of movies would have made that the entire third act and been melodramatic about it. Lightyear. I mean, not the exact same thing, but, similar. Instead, it happens relatively early, and it just changes his character over time. He doesn't do a complete 180, but he also doesn't spend forever dwelling on it. Also, one little detail I noticed while rewatching is that the commercial says Buzz Lightyear is available at Al's Toy Barn, which is kind of cool because it's a major location in Toy Story 2. I don't know if Pixar had planned that ahead of time or anything, but it's a neat little connection. Also, congratulations to Buzz Lightyear, Pixar's first transgender character. My man transitioned into Mrs. Nesbit. We love a king to queen arc. Another scene I really like is when Woody reveals Buzz's broken arm to all the other toys, because from their perspective, Woody already tried to get rid of Buzz once. Now Buzz's arm is completely off of him, so of course they think Woody did it. It makes complete sense, and it actually makes Woody hitting rock bottom feel kind of earned for the story. Then you've got what is probably my favorite scene, which is Woody and Buzz having a heart-to-heart talk by the window. I think that's the most meaningful moment, where Woody finally realizes that he isn't really jealous of Buzz, at least not entirely. He's more or less scared that Andy doesn't need him anymore because he has this awesome new space toy. And it's also the moment where he finally admits that Buzz is actually a pretty cool toy. It's a really genuine conversation, and I think it's the emotional turning point of the entire movie. I also like the callback where Woody uses the light to ignite the rocket. Like early in the movie, Sid uses a magnifying glass to play with Woody. Now Woody uses basically the same exact idea to save them by lighting the rocket string to propel them towards the moving truck. Little callbacks like that always make me happy in films, especially when they feel earned and have a use in the plot. And finally, I really appreciate that the ending didn't overstay its welcome. They escape, they get back to Andy's other toys, Christmas rolls around, roll credits. Simple. Overall, rewatching Toy Story, I think it's still incredibly fun as a movie, and I don't mind revisiting it. Yeah, sure, parts of it have definitely aged, and there are a few plot holes that have always kind of bothered me, but it's impossible not to appreciate what this movie accomplished. It kicked off one of the greatest animation studios of all time and introduced some of the most iconic characters in movie history, and almost 3 decades later, it's still just a genuinely entertaining watch. Needless to say, if Best Animated Feature was around at the time of Toy Story, it would have 100% deserved the first ever award, but I'm still okay with Shrek taking the first gold, but Toy Story definitely would have been a good contender for the first ever winner if that was the case. For me, Toy Story gets a solid 8 out of 10. A pretty strong start to Pixar as a whole and the Toy Story franchise. Anyway, that's my review of Toy Story, so let me know what you guys think of it, because I feel like this is one of those movies that almost everybody likes, but I'm curious where you'd actually rank it compared to the rest of the series. And honestly, I know that I'm going to be reviewing 2, 3, and 4, so keep an eye out for that. But until then, take it easy, and see you later, ya hockey puck. Oh.